start from their own perspectives and then think out. So I'm still building on that. I'm still wrapping up things with this PBS project. That is still in the works, but yes, by our next conversation, I'm sure I'll have more to say.
Okay. Well, now that sounds wonderful. What are some of the ideas and careers that some of the youngsters that you've mentored and worked with so far? What directions are they looking to go into?
Um, it's really run gambit in terms of what kids want to do. I think one interesting addition I've heard is like YouTube stars. A lot of kids really want to get into social media and build personal.
Ah,
And I think a lot of adults' initial reactions to be like, oh, don't. It's lucrative. It's
yeah,
um,
it's what's happening now. It's what's making this happen between us right now for everyone to see around the world. Actually, it's
and this is the
wonderful.
generation. They're growing up watching things like unboxing videos, watching other kids like open toys. So, I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing that that's like something that's coming up. I still hear lawyers a lot. I love hearing things like that. Teachers, but the YouTube stood out for me a couple of times.
Well, let's before we go on to other questions, tell us about how you're taking in New York. How's that for you? Is this your first time living in New York, and what's New York like for you?
This is my first time living in New York. This is not my first time on the East Coast. I went to college at Bryn Mawr College, which is located in Philadelphia. So I have some experience with being on this side of the United States. I always wanted to live in New York. I always felt like I was gonna get here one way or the other. Um, but yeah, I really like it. The kind of sad part is that like it was in the winter months when I moved here, so I couldn't really do much of anything, or I was cold, so I was staying a lot. And then I would always promise myself like, okay, when spring comes, summer comes, I'm gonna be out and about, and shut down. So I was like, cool, more in the house. Experience a little bit of the New York life, but um, I know that's definitely not what would be happening normally. I do love my country. I just um here not too long ago in Brooklyn, so it definitely has had its ups and downs. But I always wanted to be in New York, so I'm happy way.
Well, let's jump to your another creative part of yourself, other than being a youth advocate and new wave of educator. You are great in literary skills. Tell us about your experience in that, and if you've had any recent publications or articles, books.
Yeah, so I've always been interested in writing. Like I have diaries from when I was in kindergarten and stuff like that. I've always used writing to get whatever I was going through out, right? Um, but it was in high school that it really started to formulate into something that I could like do. Um, it started being a part of the school newspaper. I was really interested in journalism. I've always been really interested and invested in truth telling and in justice. So I found a way to kind of combine things with journalism. So in it there that I thought that I was gonna be like a writer. Like I am a writer, but I thought that was gonna be a profession. And clearly it's not something I've been able to like put down, right? Um, so that's how it started with me being in journalism and being editor chief of my high school newspaper called the Nightly News. Nights.
Okay. And was that Westview High School?
View Park.
View
Hmm.
Park, View Park High School. And I know you know Mike Songson. I believe he was one of your teachers, I
That
believe.
I was gonna mention that, like the poet Songson was
Mike the poet.
he was a very big inspiration for me, and he definitely has been a mentor for me since school. In terms of pushing me to be creative, pushing me to make sure that I publish my work and share what I have to say. Um, So yeah, he really noticed my work. I took a poetry class that I was teaching, and just started like he kind of took me under his wing along with a couple other students. That's really his strong suit is being a mentor. Um, and he started to invite us to these poetry slam nights, even though we were in high school, and we would go and people would like jaws on the floor, like, oh my God, these kids are so amazing. And so I was kind of like, and then he published a book of our poetry, like our poetry class, and it was a really proud moment for a lot of kids, and it became a volume. It became a thing people looked forward to. So he really empowered a lot of students, including myself. So, in terms of the work that you can find, his one of his other friends has been kind enough to let me spit my little game or whatever, say what I want to say over
Right?
on Weekly. So you can check me out, Khadijah. And I recently published a poem, so I can send that to you later later on. It's
What's
just
the name of that? The name of it?
it's called The Ballad of Baldwin Hills.
Beautiful. Well, let's move on to your most recent artistic endeavor, Cozy Femme.
Yeah.
It touches my heart because myself and others grew up seeing our parents and grandparents crochet. My mom, who I believe is watching, she crochets an Afghan or a baby blanket for any new coming baby to the family, I think since the 70s. So crocheting is a part of my upbringing, and a few other vendors that I've worked with crochet, making hats and other things. But yours is a little different, being that it's like body wear and tops and skirts even. So what inspired you to start that type of craft art?
The funny thing about crochet is that no one in my family does it, but my mom is a teacher, so she's always been really big on craft. Like she's a crafty woman. Like she'll she can sew. Like she's always been the kind of woman that can just kind of like whenever I had a school project and I was like freaking out, she was always able to like, kind of things together. So I always just learned how to entertain myself doing little crafty stuff. Like I would make doll houses out of shoe boxes and stuff like that. Um, and it wasn't until I was like 23, 24, crocheting really randomly. I was working in an after school program and I was eating crafts, like needing to get them to that wasn't like sitting on a computer or playing board games and getting them to move their mind to something creative with their. And I picked up some yarn and like some needles on a just like I'll just have this on the side for myself. Maybe I'll like pick this up and like put on a YouTube tutorial. YouTube. And I just got hooked.
Right?
But I really learned how to do it, and um, I picked it up in a way that I was kind of surprised with myself. So yeah, I started exploring more, and I figured out the top thing, and yeah, the rest is kind of history.
So what is it you would like people that are watching now, later, and just overall to know about your work, about Cozy Film?
I think I want people to know that your work can change and evolve with you. I think, especially during this time, we're seeing that businesses, it's really, you have to be able to evolve and be adaptable and move with the times. Um, and also, I've learned integrity and responsibility. I think there's something to being a business owner, to being a leader, somebody who is in charge of something and owning something that is kind of a part of you, but also outside that really um, builds character. Um, so I really love like creating this cozy femme brand and having people love it and having it be like made a thing and how much responsibility that requires.
Are you finding that all ages are gravitating towards it and like it?
Yes. I think that the clothing of Cozy Femme is definitely for I definitely have a demographic of of customer, but I think my mission is definitely something that a lot of people appreciate. Um, I think that being able to like combine craft revival with a larger like social mission, kind of empowering people to literally put that power back into their hands to create something. Um, people always it's just always beautiful to see yourself make.
So who would you say are your biggest influence in the area of fashion, art, and crochet?
In the areas of fashion, I've always been really into like um ballet, so really pastel colors. I've always been really into the island vibe. One of the first women that I really started to fit she's a Trinidad woman, and and her brand is called Bene Career, and it's these lush tropical colors, and I'm always really drawn to them as well. And really colors that um, may at like that I feel like I don't in crochet, right? I think that there are like certain
Sure.
certain things that people are like kind of normal. So I've really been trying to like push the envelope in terms of like patterns. And I think finding out more about my heritage, my mother's side of the family is from Louisiana, and I recently learned that they're Homa, which is a Choctaw tribe. So they I've been really drawing a lot from learning more about not only like the Mardi Gras Indian, the
Yeah,
the
my family's from New Orleans as well, both sides,
and
mom and dad.
like a style and a fashion and like a vibrancy to that culture that I feel like um, is understated, because I think Cozy Femme still has like a very fairy, ethereal, like womanly vibe, but giving it like a vibrant pop. So yeah, like things that I've been working on now, like this top, just combining more patterns within my work, and really just trying to be more complicated with the things that I do with crochet, and making it a little bit more like weaving. So it's definitely a big thing for me right now. Oh.
Great, great. Well, let's take a moment. I'm gonna turn my camera around and show some of your designs and work and pictures.
Hmm.
And while we go along, feel free to make comments about the picture.
Sure. Okay.
So this is highlighting you and your stuff. So yeah, feel free to make
Definitely.
comments about the different things, and anyone watching, feel free to make comments as we go along.
Yeah, this is that one before was definitely my style. That's a Rothko painting that I was standing next to. So those oranges. Yeah, that lush tropical vibe. This is a one that this customer asked for me to make custom.
Oh, and you made that custom for this customer.
Yes.
Beautiful.
But I think it ended up amazing. This is actually um that Mike the Poet was able to make in Los Angeles. My first vending opportunity workshop um, in the Collective, which is a beautiful store in Los
Nice.
Angeles. Yeah.
Looks like you guys are busy right here.
Yeah, so I always just start out with the vocab, and I really try to make it less of like a workshop and more of like a conversation. Just trying to build that same kind of feeling that maybe a circle of women would have in like a little community village.
Right. You put on a show here. Was this in July of last year or this year?
This
Well,
was a cool year.
last year, of course.
This was at CHAC, which is the Congress Heights um, Arts Community Center. Um, it's an amazing organization, and the women there caught on so fast. It was an awesome conversation. I was really able to bring together the mission of CHAC, which be there for the Congress Heights community, and provides like an art space, and teach them a skill, crochet. And there were a lot of grand aunties there that that did crochet that were able to help me. So it was just beautiful to watch like that intergenerational. Um,
No, a little neckwear, huh?
yeah, so that was what one of my students made at the after the workshop. I have a couple pictures of students that just
That is cute.
out were just like, no, I want to get it. Oh my gosh! So this is from Femme. This was one of my huger vending opportunities, where I had my own booth space, and I was really able to work with a lot of photographers and models for twin models, um, and work with a lot of other fashion designers to create these looks. So yeah, very popular look from that time at Femme Fatale. I was like, I didn't really get the shingles, but everybody loved the fringes
They love the fringes,
on
huh?
the shirts.
They
So
give you that look like a skirt, but kind of airy. Yeah, that's different.
yeah.
Is this a
Oh
model?
yes, this is the influencer, Miss Jess Gray. She's Hey Miss Gray. She's amazing. She has her own healing store business. Yes, this is one of my more daring customers. I really loved working with customers that were willing to take these kinds of risks with their top, make
So
it
they requested, and this is another commission top that you did.
yes, commission. Yeah.
Commission. This is an awesome picture. I like the sleeve wear. Is it attached to the body of the top, or is it all separate? Three separate.
Yeah, by like a couple strings down at the bottom of the underarm area.
I see.
So,
To hold it all together.
yeah,
Right.
that was definitely one of my more complex pieces, and I definitely got better at making long sleeve top. But it's definitely one of my personal favorites. This is
Nice green top.
a by the name.
Ensemble here.
Yes, and yeah, that's me in another version of that French top from earlier. But you like I said, I'm a little bit more of a tomboy sometimes when it comes to how I'm feeling, depending on my mood with crochet. So I will not go for fringes on my
Okay.
tops, but
Here you are hard at work, looks like.
yeah, this is me macrame. So this is like my first little forays into weaving and crafting outside of crochet.
So tell us a little about that. What's the difference? Weaving, macrame, explain those versus crochet.
So
And
crochet,
knitting, yeah.
so crochet is the like the knitting, but it's one hook, right? It's one metal hook. And
Right. You can
then,
have different size hooks too.
yes,
I
hold on,
know that part.
trying to see if I can. Here we go. Yeah, I have quite a variety here. So you can have them be like large like this, or they can get like skinny like that. Like
Okay.
I have some like that, and you can crochet things. This is to crochet things like for babies all the way to blankets. And then knitting has the two, and so macrame. It kind of this is actually crocheted in the middle. But macrame would be that kind of like plant hangers are the
Oh,
way
I
that you,
think we have one of those of
yeah.
yours.
So it's a knotting method of keeping everything together as opposed to using the knitting or the weaving techniques.
Got it. A little creative accessory there, footwear.
Yeah, those are called barefoot sandals. One of my personal favorites. It did not sell that well, but I still wear them because I just think they're a great accessory with like regular flip flops. Or if you're on the beach, I think they're perfect for this.
I can see it as a way of just giving your foot or just a little extra pop or color that you might want to wear that day.
Yeah, like if you just want to dress up some regular flip flops, you can have those on and not necessarily have to do much in terms of like new shoes.
Right. Nice.
Yes.
Looks like some models here.
Yeah, the one in the middle is my mom.
Oh, okay.
Examples of like gifts. This was a holiday advertisement I was doing. It's just different examples. Yeah,
Youngster here. Is
friends,
that like watermelon or
little
like
watermelon.
a watermelon top or something? The green and the red with the black. That's cute. Some hats.
Special commission. This is a Harry Potter commission. If you have any Harry Potter fans or trivia of Harry Potter, but that's Gryffindor on the right, and that is Hufflepuff on the left. There were two houses. They were like Christmas presents. It was I really love getting commissions like those. So yeah, those are just some examples of berets and some little fallscape. Yes, this is one of my earlier pictures. One of my tops that I like. One of my first tops that I created and for myself. I
Okay.
really purple. Um,
I love the colors in this one.
this is one of my ads too. Like I really like lush colors and vibrant, like tropical, warm color. Yeah, this was the night before that photo shoot that you saw. This was me
Okay.
prepping everything. It was a very hectic day and a hectic night. So this is me finishing up a top right before. So I thought this was the most I should probably, wear for myself.
I love the color.
Yeah, and it was me trying to build my concept as well.
So, what's the upside and the downside that you found out about starting Cozy Femme and foraying into the whole craft fashion arena?
Um, the upside is there's no limit on my creativity. Anything from hats to like the scarves to wall hanging to like sweaters and really kind of like think about it.
Whatever your mind thinks of, you can make it, huh?
Yeah, that is really an interesting. It's a really literal example of manifestation. So I really love that about crochet. The downside is the time it takes. It doesn't matter. Like, it just it's labor intensive. Like what I'm working on right now.
Wow.
It's a weaving, but as you can see, it's gonna take me some time. But I know that it's worth it. And in terms of being a part of the craft community, it's it's getting better now, but we are still scarce in terms of Black women crafters and people